Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here, and a very warm welcome to you all joining me for another Precious Metal Ramble. Now today we are going to be doing a close look at Clarity Metals Corp. They've sponsored today's video. If you want to find out more about that sponsorship and all of the information about Clarity Metals Corp, then there are links down in the description box below, including a link to this corporate presentation. I want to put my usual disclaimer in for these types of videos that I am not a financial expert, I am not a stock market guru, and any junior mining stock, including this one, is a risky investment to take on. If you are not risk averse, perhaps this is something for you to consider, but please do a lot of due diligence. Junior mining stocks can go up massively and they can also go down massively. But if you have that inclination to take a risk on, then perhaps this might be a company for you to have a look at. What enticed me to make this video for Clarity Metals is that they're not just primarily based on precious metal exploration and mining. They have got interesting projects all about lithium and other base metals. And lithium is of course one of the big metals within the renewable energy sector, and batteries. And that I think is something that's really interesting. Everybody says silver is going to skyrocket because of solar, because of renewables, because of the future that we need to embrace to be sustainable, and silver is going to play a massive role in that. But we forget that a lot of other base metals are also going to play huge roles in that future, and lithium is certainly one of those metals. You can barely get a electric car these days without gigantic lithium-based batteries inside them. Of course, batteries pretty much fuel most of our devices out there, from smartphones, tablets to even laptops and computers and various other things. So it's an incredibly important metal, and it's something that is interesting to see being focused on by a different company. Now, Clarity Metals Corp are based out in Canada, and they have a whole host of different projects ongoing right now. We're going to have a little look at some of them, not all of them. There's a huge amount in this particular corporate presentation, and you can have a look at them all in their own individual depths and rights as we go throughout the video. We're also going to have a quick look at the management team, because it's important to see what kind of experience people are bringing to the table for any kind of company like this. Certainly a new one to the market like Clarity Metal Corp is. So let's have a look at the first one here, which is primarily based on lithium. Now, I am no mining expert, certainly no mining expert when it comes to what comes out of the ground, but digest this as you will. It is a completely lithium-based project. There are, big numbers there. It's 40.3 metric tons indicated resource, which is significant, and it's going to start construction pretty soon. So we're looking like it's going to get underway in the near future, which is always good to see from a mining company. A lot of the time you see these exploration, research and development side of things taking years, even decades or more, to get any kind of revenue coming out of the ground. And so for having this to come out, which is hopefully imminent, and an estimated lifetime of 19 years, I think is quite interesting. And you can see that there's just a tiny little pit there in the whole area that's yielding a significant amount. So we'll have to see how that progresses over time, which I think is quite interesting. Here's a little bit more information on that particular project, so you can have a little bit of an in-depth read about that. There is, though, a gold featured project here, which is the Fecteo gold, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that to any of our well, it's actually probably Fecteau, isn't it, because it's near Montreal and in Quebec. So we have here obviously a gold focused mine. Now you can see a lot of these numbers here, 2.4 grams per ton, considerably different to perhaps the volume of lithium bringing out the ground, but of course that just demonstrates once again the amount of difference in value between gold and other base metals, and I think that's quite interesting. Now, I'm no expert in terms of how much gold comes out of a ton, but I would say some of these numbers down here, 1 gram per ton is low, but then there are numbers here which is 7 grams per ton, which I think is relatively high. I'm basing that knowledge, not going to lie, as I said, no expert, and this is evidence to that. I'm going to base those numbers off some of the, those brilliant shows that you see coming out of the outback of Australia, gold mine hunters or something, or gold digger hunters, and they often will have small time people going over where those big mines had used to be, and they'll talk about those numbers. So it's interesting to see that there are some which are high, some which are low. Now, there are, of course, a lot of other projects contained within this presentation, and I don't pretend to know enough to go into stupid detail with all of these. So if you want to go and have a look at some of them, then please feel free to do so. But what we can see is they have got a diverse range of projects, which is, I think, really interesting. We have here a nickel property. So again, focusing on all of those different base metals as well as the precious metal and the lithium, which I do think is interesting. It's a good thing to have a diverse portfolio of projects and of different resources that might be coming out of the ground. So here again, we have nickel, copper and lead and zinc. You see, it is completely diverse as to how much is coming out of this organization. Now, in terms of the management team, that's where we want to just finish today's video, to have a quick look at who's bringing what to the table, because often a lot of these companies are, their success is based on whether or not they have that experience to actually deliver the projects, to run the projects, to get that mining underway and get the materials out of the ground. Now, James Rogers is the CEO with over 13 years experience within the exploration and mining sectors. And he's developed projects in the Americas, Europe and Africa. So bringing a lot of experience to the table there, and I do think that that's a really good thing to see. Rose Zanuck with over 25 years of capital markets and corporate finance experience. That's a great thing to have within any kind of new organization. And then, as you can see, we've got 19 years worth of experience with Wolverton Securities Limited, where she was Senior Vice President of Corporate Finance. So one would hope then that that is a sound basis for the financials of this organisation. And we have here, of course, Andrew Mail and Stephen Silas as well, with their additional roles and experience being brought to the table. And then they have a lot of experience to draw on within the advisory board as well, with a significant amount of experience being brought on by Ian Graham, Rory Kudlugo, again, apologies if I'm mispronouncing the name, Michael Robert and Michael Williams. Oh, and not to forget Olan Asen as well. So there we have my little overview of Clarity Metals Corp. If you are interested in them, then you can see the tickers down here. They're on the Canadian Stock Exchange, I believe that's the Ontario Stock Exchange, and the French Stock Exchange, I think, as well. So lots of different ways that you can look to invest. As I said, though, very risky investments. Anything with a junior mining stock needs to be considered with all of those different risks in mind. But if you are somebody who likes to look at things that are risky in terms of those investments, then perhaps something like this is for you to take a further deep dive and look into. Certainly of interest anyway, that they are different. They have these other projects on, the lithium, the other base metals, and of course a gold project as well. So a big thank you to Clarity Metals Corp for their sponsorship of today's video. If you would like to find out more, then there's a link to this corporate presentation and their website down in the description box. A big thank you to you all for watching, especially all my backyard bullion ramblers who watched to the end of our videos. Thank you very much. I know this isn't one of our normal videos, but we will be back on Wednesday with a thought-provoking topic all about gold and silver. Until then, we'll see you on the next video. Thank you one and all for watching. Have a great week ahead. And as always, please make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.